Hey friends, it does not feel like it's been a week since last Thursday, but we're here again for another Inside Star Citizen update at what's going on in the game's development. This week, I think we're specializing, rather focusing on one of the major in-game gangs, and these are people who can be kind of almost act as government entities in the game. They'll give you missions, they'll have security, they'll have certain things they want you to do. So hopefully they'll dive a little more into what the reputation does for that system and how these new gangs are people that we can actually work with and get some more enjoyment out of the game with. So let's see what they've got for us this week.
The Ninetales are professional criminal operators with a high skill level, but what makes them different is kind of how they don't care about hiding their activities. They're a little bit flashier than you would expect. They're running gambling rings and stealing and doing protection.
Gambling over chess.
The big mystery right now is everyone's trying to figure out what their motivations and goals are.
They like Pokemon named Ninetales.
When the Ninetales go out and they do certain missions, it's very clear that they know exactly what they're doing, that they've trained, that they've actually done drills for the exact situation that they're going.
Am I the only one seeing this in black and white? Or is that a thing? OBS, how about you? Yeah? Okay.
Into
when the Ninetales debuted in Terra, it was a very big, splashy kind of attack on a prison transport where they captured a syndicate boss,
killed a bunch of Terra police to do it,
only to execute him 2 days later with a shot in the head, and everyone was very confused.
Ninetales, though.
They're bold, they're violent, and they're good at what they do.
I don't know. They don't often shoot at me when I'm in front of them.
The Ninetales has started to terrorize the Stanton system around Crusader,
using Grimhex as their sort of current base of operations.
If you've gone to Grimhex, you've seen their tags.
They want you to know who they are, so you know who you're messing with. They kind of advertise, so it's a warning of like, hey, don't mess with me, because you know you'll bring down the wrath of the gang.
Yeah, we're gonna get all up on your case as long as Crusader security doesn't come and kill us. It's Grimhex, guys. Come on.
A lot of people who are playing the game, they're in with the Ninetales is through Rudo, who's a criminal fixer operating in Grimhex.
He has his own agenda too, but he does hire out for the Ninetales.
So when the Ninetales don't want to risk their own members or need a little extra help on a job, they contact Rudo, and Rudo puts them in touch with people in the know, and that way they don't have to work with them directly. They don't have to expose their organization. Rudo arranges everything, and you know he has his own level of protection. You know, talking through the holograms and all kind of that keeps a buffer between his clients and the operators he hires.
They can't even put his real body there. It's a hologram.
Picking up missions for the Ninetales from Rudo, you might have run into them if you helped clear out a blockade at a space station, a lockdown event, dynamic event that happened a few months ago, where the Ninetales gang basically moved in a giant kind of like dampener, a quantum dampener, to an area around a space station, which meant quantum traveling in and out of that area was restricted.
Since the Ninetales did their...
That was, if anybody doesn't know, that was one of the dynamic events they introduced last year, which, in my opinion, is probably the worst we've had so far, but it has potential once some of the supporting systems are better.
Lockdown across the system of these rest stops. They may seem like they've been a little bit quiet.
Which has kind of made some happy around Crusader, because the gang has been a constant thorn in the side of the company for years. There was a really big fear that during the Fleet Week event at Orison, that the Ninetales might do something that could jeopardize the event in general, but their silence isn't treated as a good thing by everyone within the company. There's some deep fear.
Luckily, they were just too laggy to be there.
That them kind of going quiet and kind of stepping back out activity for the past few weeks could be a symbol of something bigger to come.
Not like they haven't already set up the battlefield.
On edge about what the Ninetales are up to right now.
The Ninetales are becoming perennial adversaries to the good.
Okay, what else could they be doing today?
Stanton. And as many recent testers of PTU may already be aware, are currently building up their forces for a potential new assault in the coming weeks when Alpha 317.2 comes online, which we'll all be learning more about throughout the rest of this month. But what about those in lives outside of the dangers and controversies of combat? For space truckers and the like, the commodity kiosk is where small fortunes can be made, and it's one of the last remaining
This is a more important update.
Still unconverted to building blocks. Until now. Now let's take a look at a still very nascent work converting this system and ensuring a few quality of life fixes players have asked for get integrated along the way.
See if they show us commodity timers.
As part of the upcoming cargo refactor, this was the perfect time to go back and update the old commodity kiosk UI. The core philosophy for the rework is tell the player what's going on above all else so that they can make their informed decisions and plan for the future.
Give me that new. Come on. Let me see.
The commodity kiosk is the method that players use when they are trying to load cargo onto their ship so that they can trade between locations, etc. It is a kiosk that is often situated in either a trade and development district or in the admin office of a space station or outpost or something like that.
UI, please.
We like that the current commodity kiosk is stable. Other than that, honestly, the layout of it does a lot to actually harm our gameplay. It does not show commodities on it when they are out of stock or when they are full stock or when the player doesn't have it in their ship. Essentially, a lot of times players will say, you have removed X from this shop or X shop is not working, when in reality it's just that someone on another server has recently interacted with that shop.
Yeah.
And as a result, it's looking like it basically has nothing in it.
Which is just... oh, it's so annoying.
The biggest thing that we're going to be changing is that if an item is at full and you are trying to sell to the shop, it will still show as in the inventory. If an item is empty, as in someone has purchased all of it, we will just show it on there as being empty. You will be able to go to a shop.
Hold on. You can't just freaking throw it up there. Let's see. What are we seeing here? We're seeing materials that they have. We're seeing... sorry, we have materials that they want, materials that they have, and numbers. This is a very early UI. I don't feel like trying to figure it out right now. Oh, that's us. Okay, that's you.
Shop and know exactly what it is going to normally buy and sell in order to plan your trade routes and such, even if currently the shop is not in a state where it can trade in that commodity. We're also going to be showing things that are in your ship, but the shop doesn't want or can't want or considers illegal, so that you can know that there's not a bug occurring, basically.
Yes.
So that you can see that, yes, I do in fact have quite a bit of iron in my hold, and it's not missing. Something hasn't gone wrong. It's just that this shop doesn't trade in that particular commodity.
Okay. So they have the same numbers, so I'm guessing it's like the amount that one has versus the amount that another has, and whether that's able to be transferred or not. I don't know, but this is just the building blocks prototype, and it already gives me better feelings than the last one, so I'm for it.
We are also going to do a little bit of a visual tweak. We're going to create a few variations. There's going to be, if you're in Grimhex, kind of a hacked version that looks a little bit more cruddy. If you're in the trade...
Okay, so this is their straight up their template. Now we kind of see... this is a concept of what it'll look like, but it's showing, let's see, what is times 200 per unit? Guessing that's price per unit, 500 units. Okay, so you get 200 per unit. Gotcha. Tells you how much you're selling, how to sell it. Looks like up top there it's showing some form of a manifest, right? Up in the top, it looks kind of like that is displaying the amount of SCUs you have and what they're being used for. Some of them are partially filled. Some of them are blocked, maybe destroyed. I don't know. Oh, maybe those are the illegal ones, right? So these boxes here are being displayed as not sellable, just like the Widow down here is not sellable. Emergent demand, low demand, very low demand, high demand. All of this stuff is the kind of stuff that I wonder if it's ever going to play into data running or just data management at all. Is this the kind of stuff that's going to have to be reported by players? Or is this going to be sent to our kiosks, sent to our mobiGlas and all that stuff? Either way, this looks much better than before. But I'm not a UI snob. I don't know what else we need on here.
District, or one of the more fancy.
Obviously, this isn't complete.
Then we will have a bit more of a showroom floor, fancy Godiva chocolate looking thing. It's intended to kind of give a little bit more flavor, but also to emphasize to you that the feel of the commodities that you are trading in at that location.
Critical demand.
And this is just step one of our improvements in the trading gameplay loop. Stay tuned, traders and haulers. Help is coming.
So what do we learn here?
Stay tuned to everyone in the game. Trade is like one of those things that literally touches everybody, right? Like even if you're a combat pilot, you still have to go to a kiosk, buy stuff, load it into a ship, and have that whole process going on. Trade improvements are some of the widest reaching, in my opinion, and very, very good looking ones. So I am very happy to see that they're working on that. It's kind of expected with the cargo refactor, but I'm glad they're starting to show us some of that work, and hope they get into much more detail in the next couple months.
This week, well, we learned more about who and what the Ninetales are, how they operate, what their intentions might be for the stand system and the like, and that commodity kiosks are currently getting some much needed quality of life improvements for traders. And it's also a very good time to make your feedback known up on Spectrum. Now don't forget, this weekend is First Contact Day, as well as the newly anointed International Bar Citizen Weekend. Be sure you check out the robertspaceindustries.com website for details on the when and where of this weekend's events. And we'll be back here next week for this year's Alien Week festivities with a look at the current progress inside of the Banu Merchantman. Inside Star Citizen, I'm
focusing on the new sweetheart of the Star Citizen community, the Banu Merchantman. Probably not coming until next year, but gonna be a pretty cool ship when it does. Honestly, the first half of this section was not a deep feature dive, but it did provide some good lore background, I think, for, like, you know, a lot of that stuff isn't really common knowledge. So it's nice that they're starting to integrate some of the stuff that they're doing with, like, the stuff we see going on right now. They're like explaining us what Ninetales is all about. They've just gotten into Stanton. You can see their marks in the game. You know, bringing some attention to that extra context they build in. That's cool, but didn't really give us much new info. The second part, though, ooh, trading kiosks. Yes, I'm happy to see that. We'll talk more about that in the upcoming months. Especially, we'll probably get Jack Axon in for another podcast. We'll talk a lot about what he's looking forward to with that, because he's really my go-to guy when it comes to cargo stuff. But that's about it, folks. Make sure to check out the podcast coming out next week. We'll be talking about that Bar Citizen stuff they just mentioned, as well as some of what's coming up in 317 too. And make sure to check out the monthly report coming out on the main channel, I guess tomorrow, 2 days from now, Saturday in June. I don't know when you're watching this. Anyways, see you later. Until next week.